My name's Courtney Gilbert. I'm the curator of visual arts at the Sun Valley Center for the Arts. The exhibition that we have up right now is called Dazzle Camouflage, Hiding in Plain Sight. This exhibition is a really fascinating look at military history and its intersection with modern art during World War I. Dazzle camouflage was used both by the British Navy and the American Navy as a way to disguise ships in the water. And unlike most types of camouflage, dazzle wasn't meant to hide ships from sight, but rather to fool the eye, to make it difficult to figure out what size a ship was, what type of ship it was, its speed, its direction, and so very difficult for a German U-boat to fire a torpedo at it. In this exhibition, we have a set of 11 original Dazzle diagrams that were made under the supervision of an American artist for the US Navy, an artist named Maurice Friedman. In addition to these works from RISD's historical archive, we also have work by 5 contemporary artists who are all considering dazzle from different points of view. Thomas Bangsted is a Danish artist who now lives in New York. He's a photographer who works kind of at the intersection between traditional film photography and digital photography. He creates incredibly large format photographs of dazzled ships using a process that takes him up to 3 years. He tracks down decommissioned ships and then photographs them, and then does historical research in archives about the way that these ships were painted during World War I and World War II. And then he digitally recreates those patterns on the ships. Stuart Elster is a painter based in New York who's fascinated by the history of dazzle camouflage, and particularly in the way that art has been a political and military tool in all different kinds of ways for centuries. We have on display 5 paintings that he's made of dazzle ships, and he creates the paintings not so much by painting ships, but by recreating the dazzle patterns themselves using really thickly applied brush strokes or palette knife strokes of paint that build up in layers. And his paintings have this rich, delicious texture to them that I think alludes to his interest in the way that color is used. Each painting is dominated by a single color, so that the ship, the sky, the water are all the same color, painted in varying shades of the same hue. Carrie Schneider is a photographer who has pursued several different bodies of work that always have a kind of psychological charge to them. As a Fulbright Fellow in Finland, she made several works that refer to dazzle camouflage. And we have, as part of the exhibition, a photograph she made of a canoe wrapped in a dazzled patterned canvas. And it's a very haunting, really incredibly beautiful image that kind of takes the idea of dazzle camouflage and how dazzle works and turns it on its head. Because dazzle, as a form of camouflage, relies on the idea of these patterns applied to ships moving through water, and through that movement creating optical illusions. Syjuco is an artist who's based in San Francisco, and she, like other artists in the exhibition, is also really interested in the kind of political history of dazzle camouflage, and she's used it in a sort of radical way. We have 2 different projects on display. One is a set of 4 self-portraits that she made in a series she calls Cargo Cults, and each of the self-portraits present her dressed in highly patterned black and white pieces of clothing and accessories and all kinds of layers of fabrics and patterns together. The photographs have the appearance of being sort of ethnographic studio portraits from the 19th century, maybe images that might have been made, in colonial acquisitions by Western countries. But she's actually wearing, in each of the photographs, items that she bought at a mall in California. So they're products made by stores like The Gap, by H&M. And so for her, dazzle is a way of thinking about both the migration of patterns between cultures and also about the idea of labor and marketing, the hidden labor that goes into making so many of the goods that we buy that are imported from other countries around the world. So Liz Collins first was introduced to dazzle camouflage when she read about a character in a novel by Linda Barry called Cruddy. And the character would dress herself in layers of clashing and contrasting pieces of clothing as a way of trying to hide herself from other people's gaze. And so for this exhibition, Collins designed an entire room for us, and she talks about the idea of the vibrational seduction of these patterns and using them to create a full immersive experience. So we've installed textiles that she's made and works on paper, wallpaper that she's printed, along with floor pieces too, to create an entirely physical experience for viewers where they enter the room and have this optical relationship with the artwork on display that I think in a lot of ways gets back to the original intention of Dazzle, which was to disorient somebody who might be looking through a periscope hoping to aim a torpedo at a ship 100 years ago.
In addition to the exhibition here in Ketchum, we also have an exhibition in Haley called Safety Zone that features Dazzle-related artwork by Angela Tsai, an artist who's a former resident of the Wood River Valley.
I hope everybody will come in and see the exhibition. I think it's a really interesting opportunity to look at the connection between art and military history.